All right, welcome back to Tommy Points, episode number 14 today. We got the whole gang. We got Dante, we got Riley. I'm here. We got a trade deadline special today. A lot went on. Celtics did something. We're going to talk about all that.
He did it.
Actually did something.
He did. I don't know if the Trader Danny nickname sticks with what he's done, or who knows, but we'll talk about all that on episode number 14. Before we get into it, we got to talk a little bit about Manscaped. Guys, Manscaped's still sponsoring the show. You can use promo code TommyPoints to save 20% off and get free shipping over on manscaped.com. I've got a few great reviews from people that have picked up some Manscaped stuff. So if you are part of the Tommy Points crew, if you've been here since day one, make sure you, one, support the show by heading over to manscaped.com, and two, pick up some awesome product that can actually help your hygiene. It's getting hot out. It's getting sticky, guys. Like, you want to feel good in the summer.
Today.
Exactly.
Today.
You don't want to be feeling gross.
Wow.
You don't. No, thanks to
Riley,
to the product.
Riley's here. He's like, wow, dude's in Florida. He doesn't care about it being 73.
Like, 73. Oh, my God.
Like 92 today.
Jeez, bro.
Even more the reason to head over to manscaped.com. Use promo code TommyPoints, all right?
You really need it.
In Florida.
Yes, sir. And also, guys, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit that big red subscribe button, like this video, comment down below, if you have a problem with anything we say, or if you agree with it.
Or agree.
Yeah, but we know people are just going to disagree, right? But yeah, all right, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into the episode.
This is getting ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I love Walter. I love Walter. Everybody up there gets a Tommy point.
All right, so Evan Fournier to the Celtics. What do we think?
Danny Ainge did something. I mean, was he at the top of the list of guys that I wanted? No, but he certainly wasn't at the bottom. Like, he is someone that, I thought about the Celtics could target. He's making $17 million, so I really wasn't sure, what Danny Ainge, how he would deal with that. I didn't think he would really use much of the trade exception. He did. Even though he's been saying he's been throwing all these different things out there. I'm not going to use a trade exception, and we're going to use it in the summer, this and that, and he just decides to use it. Evan Fournier is someone that helps the Celtics. You look at the price tag and everything like that. I don't know if you guys know this, but since we have his bird rights, so this summer he becomes a free agent, we can sign him to whatever deal. And also, if he decides to go somewhere else, we can do a sign and trade and create a trade exception. So we can essentially just get that trade exception right back.
Yeah, and I saw that, and everyone, because we'll talk about the negative side of it, but everyone was like, oh, what if he walks? What if he walks? And my take is, okay, well, one, you know just as much as I do. If I say he's not going to walk, you say he's going to walk, and neither one of us really have like the firm fact in front of us. So if he walks, okay, we'll figure that out when we get there. But then I saw that tweet come out, and I was like, okay, you know what? It turns into almost a win-win. Now, I think the sign and trade obviously is no guarantee, but they did it with Hayward. Nothing's to say they wouldn't be able to do it with Fournier. But it does sort of put the to bed oh my God, he's only a rental. No, he's not. Yeah. You might get money for him, and he might stick around. The odds are better for them to actually get something out of him.
Yeah, and having him late in the game. I mean, you gave him up for 2 second-round picks. You used some of the trade exception. Even if he does walk, whatever, you still got a good value player. And like I say, someone that helps now. He hit a game winner last night against the Phoenix Suns. Like, this guy can step up in big moments. He can be our third clutch guy. Coming off the bench, averaging 20 points essentially. I mean, 19.9, I think, the exact number. So he's basically averaging 20 a game. I mean, we needed a bench scorer, and we got one. And we were kind of talking about this earlier, and people were still like complaining that, it wasn't this big name guy. Like, we just got Evan Fournier. Well, Evan Fournier is good. Like, he can shoot. He's a very good ball handler in the pick and roll. He's very good at that. And he's hit almost like half of the threes that our benches hit this year in total. So he's going to help a lot. And I'm excited to see what he does. He's also wearing number 74.
94, wasn't it?
Oh, or 94.
Even weirder, I guess.
Even weirder. Yeah, even weirder. So shout out to Evan Fournier, and can't wait to see him play.
I think I saw that he's worn that before in like Denver. I don't remember where or when, but I don't think it's his first time wearing 94.
Okay.
What do you wear at the Magic?
17? No, what, 7?
He was. Let me look it up. What
I will
number
say
were
while
you
you're
wearing?
looking it up, the best thing about Evan Fournier, amazing first name. I think I've said it before. It's like guy moves the needle with the
Good
first name. His
Hell
last
yeah.
name, have you seen that? His last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't search just his last name. Search
know
search
what-
his full name.
Didn't he tweet out to search?
Yeah,
his
dude.
last
That,
name?
Yeah.
he won me over right away. I mean, I obviously liked it already, but then when he tweeted that out as his first thing, he's like, "Hey, Boston, if you don't know who I am, Google my last name."
He was number 94 when he was on the Nuggets back in 2014. He was number 10 in Orlando.
10.
Number 10.
Okay.
Yep. 6'7", 28 years old, 205 pounds. In case anyone was wondering.
Oh, 6'7". That's taller than I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he was like 6'4", 6'5", so that actually makes it a lot better.
So this is what Evan Fournier tweeted out right when he got traded. He goes, "Hi Celtics fans, if you're not familiar with me, please Google my last name. You're welcome."
Legend already.
And
He's
for those of you
trolling
that are
everyone.
wondering what that is, we don't have to get into detail, but it's pretty much like a genital bacteria. All right.
Find out for yourself.
Yeah.
Ask a friend, look it up yourself, delete your history after.
It's just a
Go about it in your own time.
when you think about it, that's a wild thing for him to tweet. Like,
He's a crazy
Hey,
person.
is making a strong weird Celtics Twitter loves him already.
boom,
So
there it
you
is.
go.
But yeah, Riley, what do you think of him? What did you think of the move?
I like it. He was one of our, targets, to trade for, pick up, all season. And it kind of feels good to have maybe if Marcus Smart's back, maybe a fifth option, but someone who can actually score at least 20 points a game. Before, we had 3 guys, maybe 4 who could do that, So now we're adding depth.
And the thing with him too, it's like not with him, but just with the fact that this trade was done. When's the last time you guys came out of a Celtics trade deadline looking so much forward to not the next game, but a future game in the recent future or near future, being like, oh, I can't wait to see that guy. You haven't because they haven't made these deadline moves.
So the last guy that I'd say, which was the last trade deadline move that Danny Ainge has made, was Isaiah Thomas.
So
Yeah.
What, like 7 years ago?
when I saw that too,
ago.
I read it and I was like, wait a second. No, Isaiah Thomas was traded in the offseason. I didn't realize they were talking
Right?
about when they got Isaiah Thomas. That's how
Yeah.
long it had been. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap.
I literally remember I was sitting in the Supercuts parking lot ready to get my hair cut. And I remember it was like 10 minutes after the trade deadline. They were like, trades can still happen. I'm just sitting there like, all right, I'm going to refresh like one more time. Let me look. And I saw Isaiah Thomas. I was like, oh, sick. All right, I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching Evan Fournier play. It's going to be hopefully a breath of fresh air. I don't know. We're playing Milwaukee tomorrow. I don't even know if he'll even be able to play tomorrow.
I doubt it because I feel like even without COVID, it takes a little while for these guys to
Yeah,
get to the team and
so
play. So probably not. But
Whatever their next game is, I'm trying to look it up super quick so I can
I think
find
it's
out who
against
they're playing.
the Thunder on Saturday.
And you are correct. Yeah, they're playing the Thunder on Saturday. So hopefully we can see him then. If he does well off the bench, then we can start to be like, all right, finals back on. We're going back to the
do you
finals.
just on that note, do you think that he's a bench guy?
Yeah, it's kind of
I
tough too.
envision him being a bench guy. I mean, the only person that you'd swap him out for is Marcus Smart. So it's just a matter of if we want Marcus to going back to being a bench player. But I think he does very well, with ball movement, and he's our top assist getter on the team. So I think he solidified his spot in the starting lineup.
I think Smart kind of does better coming off the bench.
Yeah.
He brings a little bit of a spark, the second team, and then
I personally wouldn't care. He can, if he
Yeah.
wants to go
I
on
mean-
the bench, start wherever. But yeah,
as
I
long as he
agree.
gets the same amount of minutes, it doesn't really matter.
Definitely. I mean, he would be a huge spark off the bench. Like him, Pritchard, and Rob Will off the bench
Yeah.
would be
The
pretty
second team,
energetic.
those role players, they need a leader, and
definitely,
he's usually a great one for the bench.
definitely.
It's to me, it's like Fournier is a guy that can literally, he has this absolute go off potential, but it's not like a bench go off guy. It's like from the first dribble, you can tell if he's going to go off tonight. And I think the only way to obviously get into that is if he's starting type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think I'm in your boat too, Dante, that it really doesn't matter. Like they're going to both play by the end of the season. They're both playing starter minutes,
Yeah,
and they'll play whenever. And
And he'll be in the clutch situations too. I can imagine Evan Fournier. Like he'll be in like the big moments of the games when we need him. because he can hit like I said, he had a game winner last night against the Phoenix Suns. So I mean, we know he's capable of stepping up big time.
And he's been a Celtics killer too for so long. He's had some big games against the Celtics.
I haven't enjoyed watching him go up play against us the last few years. I haven't.
Another name though, talking about that starting lineup, we talked about Robert Williams just now off the bench. Daniel Tice has been moved on from. We can talk about, actually, let's stick on the starting lineup, I guess, real quick. Is it Tristan Thompson or Robert Williams now the starting big?
It should be Robert Williams.
Should be.
It should be. I'm going to go Tristan Thompson still. I mean, I just think that's what Brad Stevens, that's what he's been doing all year.
Yep.
I think what's going to happen is, and maybe this is just me being a little too optimistic, but I'm hoping that, you know, as the year goes on, Robert Williams will slowly creep into that starting role, and then by the time the playoffs start, he'll be our starting center because he is our best. Even when Tice was here, he was the best out of the three. Now there's only Thompson. He's much better than Thompson. He should be starting, but I can't imagine Brad Stevens start. He'd probably start the guy that we traded him for, Mo Wagner, over him. Honestly, to be, we're laughing about it, but I'm also
it's true.
Serious. Like, I can absolutely see him doing that. But we'll see what happens.
Thompson's definitely going to start. I think Brad's made it clear that Williams isn't going to start. You know, maybe in the playoffs, but not until the playoffs. You know, he's not going to get those minutes. I don't know if it's something with his hip or what, but he's just said, you know, he's not going to get the minutes that we all want him to get. You know, he's keeping him healthy, and hopefully it's a good strategy for the playoffs. But you know, we'll see.
I hope so too. I just wish you play your best guys the amount of minutes. You know what I mean? You don't prevent injury. Like, you never know. He could play 2 minutes and still get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and he's still talking about injury and like he's still injured.
He looks fine.
The guy's head hits the ceiling when he jumps. Yeah.
It's concerning. It makes me think that there's maybe something not lingering, but you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I get the vibe he doesn't trust him as much. Like, he doesn't trust him like he should, and he wants to.
How do you build trust in someone? Playing them, and if they mess up, they make mistakes, you let them play through it. The only 100%. Way to learn from your mistakes is playing and experiencing that. So it's like, I don't understand.
That's what we were saying last year and in the playoffs, but like this year, it's not even that. Like, dude, he's playing well
against the Toronto Raptors. He played.
It's not like he's playing average and like, you know, doing bad things, and then, you know, Stevens takes him out. You know. We're just asking him to keep playing him because he's playing well. Like
any of those justifications of, oh, he messes up, he's in the wrong place, wrong time. It's like, those have all been.
You can say that about anyone.
Exactly. He's gotten to the point where he's messing up just as little or as much, or whatever you want to say, as Daniel Tice was, or as Tristan Thompson is. He's nowhere below them now in terms of like screwing up. So then why the hindrance? And it's annoying, I guess. But
we probably talked about episode 1 that, you know, for him to get more minutes, you know, all he needs to do is, you know, cut back, you know, the mistakes and, you know, stop being so raw. And that's what he's done, but no more minutes.
In all honesty, this might be a hot take. I don't really know how you guys will take this, but like, when he's at his best, he's the third best player on the Celtics. Like,
and I can't really argue that. No,
Tatum, Brown, when Rob Williams is like in his zone, like, he is almost unstoppable, to be honest with you. Like, there's not
some of those passes he makes. Oh my god,
he's an underrated passer. He's so good at reading the passing lanes. Can score in the paint. The only thing he really can't do is shoot the ball, and he shoots a mid range every once in a while, and sometimes it goes in. But like, the dude, I mean, the guy's good. He's really, really good. Whether he starts, comes off the bench, whatever it is, I just want him to get a lot of minutes. Because he deserves them. So.
Which I guess we've been seeing the uptick in minutes, but I almost want to attribute that to Thompson being out. You know, like, if they hadn't made any trades today and we weren't even at the trade deadline and Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice were both healthy, I think we're still looking at less minutes than we want from Robert Williams, which is annoying,
confusing.
But
one thing we forgot to mention. I had it in my head to say, I completely forgot. A part of that Evan Fournier, like the 2 second-round picks, this got announced later on. But guys, Jeff Teague is out of Boston.
I know.
Are you kidding me? That's the best news of the day.
But just when he started to play well.
I don't care. I don't care, because that just gave Brad Stevens more reasons to play him. The fact that I can watch a Celtics game and not get bullshit at Brad Stevens for playing Jeff Teague over a more deserving player, that is just such a nice feeling to know that I can just enjoy these games and not have to worry about seeing Jeff Teague on my TV anymore.
I would bet a significant amount of money that wherever Jeff Teague goes, he's going to average at least 20 points a game.
He's gonna get bought out, so he's gonna be.
He's gonna go anywhere, and then you're right,
Yeah.
Riley. You know he's going to.
Either
Just have an
he does that
amazing
all
season.
year or just against us. One of the two. If we go up against him in the playoffs, imagine. Oh,
He's going to torch us.
ooh,
I just
ooh.
know it.
We have to avoid him at all costs.
And Tice, I mean, not crazy well, but Tice was playing well, the last few games too, compared to how he's been playing. So
That's a tough.
stinks.
That was a tough one. If I had to pick
Yeah.
either Tice or Thompson, I would have told you I thought Thompson would have been the one to get traded. More because $9 million, more money on his contract, more of a veteran, has a championship to his name. But yeah, I mean, it's a business move. That's all.
Like you said, Wagner's, kind of Tice's twin, so it makes more sense to trade him.
He's
for
also
Tice.
German. We lost a German and we picked up another German. So we're keeping up with that.
There we go. We're checking the box.
No, they literally are like the same person. Like
Keep that fan base.
the thing with the Tice move, and this is where I differentiate it from the Fournier. That move you get better with, right? Tomorrow or today you're better than we were yesterday with that move. But then you go and trade Tice. That's just a business decision. Tice is up at the end of the year. He's going to get money. You trade him. You bring in. Honestly, I know you said Wagner. I think it's pronounced in German. But you get him. You say he's like a replica of him. Sure, but you're not better. Like Daniel Tice, if you wanted to this year alone, you don't make that move if you want to be as good as you can be this year, right?
Definitely.
But it does. It's a business. It makes sense. I don't like the move as much because now to even get better from that deal, you do have to hope the buyout market and stuff goes well, and you could shoot yourself in the foot if you get no one in buyout and you just traded Daniel Tice for Wagner and Corticat, whatever his name is, so.
The Celtics did get a $5 million trade exception from that Tice trade as well. So they just have trade exceptions coming. Like you get a trade exception, everyone's just getting trade exceptions right now. I mean, I was gonna actually ask you guys like who you would want to get in the buyout market. I know LaMarcus Aldridge. They said he is most likely going to go to Miami, which makes the most sense. I mean, they also got Oladipo. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Andre Drummond's going to be on the buyout market. Otto Porter Jr. as well. He just got traded.
Porter.
I think, honestly, just to jump the gun on you guys, I think the Celtics would get Otto Porter before anyone else. I think that is someone that just another wing player, another body. I think he'd fit the role in Boston. I don't think, obviously, he's on the buyout market for a reason. He's not someone that really moves the needle too much, but it adds more depth. So
I remember a few years ago, though, when he was with the Wizards, he kind of torched us in the playoffs a bit. And
he bounced around a little bit.
He's someone we definitely need. Like we've been talking about all year, Grant Williams and Ojale. Okay, they space the floor for Tatum and Brown, but they can't score. Porter's someone who could space the floor and then also score. That's something we've been talking about all year that we need.
Back in 2018, 2019, he shot 41% from three, and he was shooting almost 5 a game. He's shooting 40% from three this year and 44%.
He's super underrated.
Yeah, I think I would take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
The other name though, Andre Drummond. I know Dante. I don't think you like Andre Drummond. I think with the not over Otto Porter, but with the schematic of the team now, I think Andre Drummond would be a good guy to pursue in the buyout market now, because now you got rid of Tyson, you got in his German twin. I get it, but you do need now for the longest time I was saying those three big men, they weren't the biggest issue. Thompson, Tyson, Robert Williams. I think all three of them together got the job done. Now I do think big man is going to be a little bit more of an issue for you. I think that Andre Drummond, as much as I've been against in the past too, I think a guy that can come in and grab 20 rebounds any given night would help this team. But I would take Otto Porter over him. I want to make that clear.
I feel like we don't need Drummond. I feel like this year, we kind of addressed the big man issue that we've had, for a few years, not having a lot, big man depth. But if you think about it, like last year, we almost made it to the finals with, Tice and Robert Williams playing less minutes than he is now. And we didn't need a big guy. And, now that we, these two center starting lineups and all this, we've been struggling. And I don't
You just
know.
won't see that anymore. The two center lineups. That I think
That's what I'm saying. So I'm good on Drummond.
I'm glad that you brought up Evan that I don't like him, because you're right. I don't like him. I think he's overrated. But this is a situation where I wouldn't mind if we got him now. I wouldn't have traded for him because one, he was making too much money.
yeah.
Two, it would have cost too much. It wouldn't
Same
have made
here.
any sense. Buyout market, it makes more sense. Here's my perspective on things now. My biggest thing with Andre Drummond is people hype him up as they think this guy is this world-class defender, one of the best defenders in the NBA, when in all reality, he came top 10 defensive player of the year voting like a year or two ago. The reason why was because he got one first place vote, and it was by the team writer for the Cavaliers that he was on. So first of all, just erase that from your mind. He's not a defensive player of the year candidate.
It's a good fact.
It's a fact.
It's a good fact.
It's a fact. So I'm just telling you that. But two, my thing with him was defense. He's not a great defender, overrated. Like, he gets a block a game. People are like, yeah, he gets over a block a game. He's 7 feet tall. He should be getting a block a game. What is he going to stand around the paint and do nothing? Like, he's got to do something. The way the Celtics are playing this year, they don't like playing defense too much. They really don't. And because of that, I think someone like Andre Drummond really wouldn't be that big of an issue because he doesn't play defense that much. If no one else on the Celtics is going to play defense, might as well get someone that can get you a double-double at ease every game.
And at least he's a big load inside. He clogs the lane on defense.
He's going to be a body. At this point, I wouldn't be opposed to him because at this point, we're just trying to get scores. We're trying to just keep up on offense, and Avery Fournier helps that. Andre Drummond could help that too. So we can just say, screw defense and just go all on offense. And if that happens, then so be it. I would want Porter over Drummond. I want that to be very known. But if we ended up with Drummond, I wouldn't be as upset about it if we had gotten him by trade.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to see us run with a smaller lineup like we did last year.
And that could work better. Yeah, I mean
that did come back to bite us against the Heat though. They torched Tice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bam was making.
There are so many different factors to why we lost.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just throwing that in there. I think Riley, I do think you're right that this team doesn't like Otto Porter. I think by far and away better for this team. I get it. Oh, we're good on wings now. No. In the NBA nowadays, you can never have too many of these.
I'm taking Otto Porter over Semi.
There you go. But the one thing I think that maybe I'll rephrase it and see if you agree with this too. You get Drummond, I don't think it hurts you now at all. Like I think if anything, you're going to get him for cheap, for a more realistic price than what he's making now, and then now he's a guy that you can go to and you can throw in if you are getting torched in the big man. Maybe you run small and all of a sudden you're playing the Heat again, and Bam Adebayo is making you his bitch. It's like, okay, well then let me throw this behemoth on him and see what happens.
Yeah.
But.
And now I don't want to seem like a Drummond hater, but I feel like all these things were said like about Thompson, like oh he's cheap, he can just get a double for us every night, and
it's a fact.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I would have rathered if they traded Thompson, then we go get Drummond type of thing. But now you do bring up a good point. They got rid of Tice. It's almost like a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge would be more of a Tice-like replacement in what he could do. But I think it sounds like he's off the table. But if we had those three names out there, and maybe even throwing DeMarcus Cousins, I know he's out there, but no one seems to be touching him. So if it's Porter, Boogie, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Drummond, where do we rank? It sounds like we all put Porter at the top of the list, but where do we rank the rest?
If Marcus Aldridge is on that list, I'm putting him at the top.
Yeah, same.
I put him at the top over Porter.
But I just thought he was,
Yeah, I think
I'm going with the mindset that he's going to Miami.
Yeah,
that's where my mindset is. If he decides, hey, I want to go to Boston instead, I'd be ecstatic.
I think I still go Porter at 1, but I think those are probably the clear cut 1, 2. So then
I personally think Aldridge still has some left in the tank. I just don't think he was being used properly in San Antonio. I just don't think it was that great of a fit.
Last year he averaged 19. That was a year. Year ago.
This year, I think just the way that they're developing, like they're focused more on their younger talent. DeMar DeRozan's literally like playing the power forward now for that team. Like it's actually insane. I just don't think it was just a relationship that worked. And if he goes to wherever he goes, I think he's going to play very well for that team. And I think he'd play well for us if he came to Boston. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'd put LaMarcus number 1 if he is there.
So is there any interest in Demarcus Cousins? Because I honestly, that's like would have been nice 8 years ago type of thing. I was huge on like Boogie to Boston, just even like 5 years ago. Never happened, obviously. I think probably for the best, whatever. But he's even a guy that like the thing with the biomarker, and I guess this is like the easy answer. I would take almost any of these names that are out there because they're better than some of the guys you have, and not even better than at this point. Like Riley, you're saying Drummond like wouldn't fit here and stuff, but it's like, again, I go back to then it's just such a low risk possible reward. I'm not going to say high reward, but any of these names are low risk possible reward. So I would even take a shot at Boogie, not going out of my way to, like, if you can get him for super super cheap, then sure. But
those are those situations where it's just like it doesn't hurt your team, and if like you play him and it doesn't work, you can just bench him, and that's fine. You can just solve the issue that way. That's how I'd look at a Drummond situation. Like he wouldn't hurt your team, I don't think. And like I said, if he starts hurting your team, you just bench him, play the other guys ahead of him.
Exactly.
I'm kind of afraid to get Cousins because I feel like maybe a month or two into the season we're going to hear
come in and then just
him and Marcus.
Some report of him and Marcus Smart get into a fist fight in the locker room, something
Jason
like
Tatum's
that.
doing his interview, and you just hear in the background just those guys just screaming at each other. Yeah,
but this time you can just hear that it's DeMarcus Cousins. You're like, yeah, that's his voice.
Yeah, you would know.
Speaking of that, because you know how the report came out that no one liked Tristan Thompson, there's a problem there. Mm-hmm. I think that was dispelled by Kemba and Jaylen Brown saying, hey, that's not true. But someone DM'd me, and I think it's a great point. And it's on the same topic of like, when we've talked in the previous episodes about Brad Stevens' issues, when the media had said the locker room has lost, or Brad Stevens has lost the locker room, and the guys don't respect him anymore. No one came out on social media and said, no, we respect Brad. That's cap. You know what I mean? No one said that. They say one thing about Tristan Thompson, and all of a sudden you get two of your top three guys come out and say that's not true.
That's a great point.
That's what I said to him. I go, you know what? He goes, what do you think of this? And I go, what I think is that's a great point.
Yeah.
It makes me think that we don't really have a coach.
Brad
Stevens is running the plays. He's running the practices. He's drawing up the plays, but in game, they're probably just zoning him out.
It doesn't look like they're running those plays or anything like that.
They're just telling each other what to do and just coaching each other. Like it honestly seems like that.
There's more times during the game where I'm sitting there and I'm watching, like, oh wow, they're running a play right now, and I'm shocked. And there is times where they're going ISO and I'm shocked. Like they just play their own ball game, like for 45 minutes essentially, and then like the first few minutes they run a few plays. I'm like, oh, maybe they're gonna do this all game. Then they just stop.
And they're down 30, and you're like, okay, well that's not happening.
Yeah, and then they start going back to the plays. I'm just like, if only you were doing this the entire time. But that's Celtics basketball for you.
It was, but I just thought that was so interesting. I was like, you know what? I'm not saying it confirms that the guys don't like Brad, but it definitely doesn't say that that's false, right? Like it's like they didn't do anything to make it.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like, I don't know.
Even if they don't hate him, if they have just become like, we don't love or hate him, that's a problem. You know what I mean? So it's like you need to be fully behind your coach, and you need to believe every word he says if you're really gonna do things. And if they've become neutral on him, that's an issue. But it's probably a topic for another episode, right?
It's so unfortunate because it's like we can't get rid of him because there's no one else. Who do we hire?
Let me ask you this, because I've said that for so long, right? But the way he's been coaching,
you have a name for me, don't
no,
you?
I don't. No, that's the point. It's like at this point, it's like, well, then who cares who else? Because the way he's been coaching and what he's been doing, name one thing he's done that you're like, well, that's an untouchable coach. Like no one else is gonna do that. That's the thing. And I'm not ready to fire him yet. But I've gotten to the point where I'm like, well, I can't hear, who's going to replace him, because I couldn't care less. Like, he's not doing anything. So, I don't know.
I can't tell you that I've been thinking that way. I understand where you're coming from. It's like, I don't know. I thought you were going to throw a crazy name at me and be like, how about this college guy or something like that? I don't know. I think you just hold on to him. I mean, he just signed a huge extension like a few months ago anyway. So, it's just like, he's not going to go anywhere anyways, but it's
I wouldn't say super against Brad, but you guys know I was very critical of Brad, or have been very critical of Brad. But I saw someone say something on Twitter the other day that made me really think that, I mean, now it's different because Ainge has made some trades, but, someone said that they put most of the blame on Ainge because if you think about it, he gave Brad Stevens like 7, maybe 8 viable NBA players to work with, like on the roster. Like, if you think about it, like that's it. Like, he's not doing a great job, but other than
isn't that those 7-8 guys good enough to beat the Knicks, Wizards, Pelicans, Pistons? That's what I always go back to.
yeah, that's where it probably lands on Stevens.
But to your point, yeah,
the root of it might be Ainge.
Yeah, I think definitely. And it's interesting because Danny Ainge obviously, had these picks, did something with those picks in reality. They got Tatum, they got Brown out of the Nets deal and whatnot. But then when you actually do look at some of the pieces that he tried to put around them, no one sticks. Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward. It's like all these guys come here and it doesn't fit at all. And honestly, it could be on the coach, but the GM's supposed to build the team. And if a piece doesn't fit into the puzzle piece, it does end up falling back on the GM. So I agree with it a little bit. That's why I think when we ranked we ranked like who's to blame at their third rock bottom. I think I had Danny Ainge probably within reason, but I think he was at the bottom of my list because I did think it came down to, okay, well, I get that this team's not finished. I get this team isn't as good as we want, but you could still beat the Knicks, and that's where it's that's where you kind of flatline for me, but totally agree. I think that if this team was built and they had like a big 4 that actually worked out and stuff, who would be talking shit about Brad Stevens? No one, because the team would be good.
I mean, I don't know. Just if you look past Tatum, Brown, Kemba, now that Smart's back, who else other than those 4 guys who can score like 15 a night consistently?
Evan Fournier.
Now we have Fournier.
Yeah,
No, but you're right though.
Yeah.
15, try 10, right? Like it's bad. Like Grant Williams scores 10 points and it's a party. You know what I mean? Like same with Semi Ojeleye. They literally don't have a double-digit scorer. Jeff Teague probably would have been the option, and that's not. You don't want to rely on Jeff Teague for that.
No. Even if Grant Williams is the one scoring double-digit points, something's going wrong most of the time. Because if he's scoring, that means no one else is scoring, and we don't want Grant Williams scoring.
You guys realize Daniel Tice being traded means more Grant Williams minutes, right? I guarantee it. That's going to be their sort of pick and pop.
Why did you have to say that?
Yeah, I was like in a good mood, and then you brought up the G word.
Hey,
yeah,
just keep it real. That's going to be the case.
This is why we need Otto Porter. See, listen, I'd play the Semi Ojeleye over Grant Williams. Like keep Semi in there, take Grant's minutes, whatever minutes he gets. He gets 30 minutes one night and then doesn't play 2 games in a row because that's just how Brad Stevens rolls.
Yeah, I would love Porter.
Yeah,
we've got 2 of the best wings in the NBA, but I feel like we lack depth at the wing position because behind them there's no one. Like I feel like we're good on guards. Obviously Smart and Kemba, if they can stay healthy, we're good on guards. And then for big men, like I said, I'm fine. with Thompson, Williams, and even running small. So
yeah.
I would love Porter. And all Porter's former number 3 pick. So Tatum, Brown, Porter, all former number 3 picks. So make it happen.
There you go.
The magic number 3.
All right. Before we get out of here, any of those trades around the league you guys want to talk about? I mean, maybe obviously the Victor Oladipo we could probably start with. You've talked about that. I think that makes Miami a lot better. I think that you put him where I think that was like his end destination. You know what I mean? I thought he was going to Miami for a while. He ended up going there. I think that makes them a lot better. What do you guys think of that one?
Why does every player want to go to every team in the East besides the Celtics?
It's ridiculous.
I swear. I haven't followed many of these trades today because I was at the library, but I just don't understand.
It's like either Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Miami. Like this is where guys are going, and the Celtics and all these obvious names. LaMarcus Aldridge, perfect example. An obvious name on the buyout market. It just comes out now that he's favored to go to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating.
I know we have a losing record, but we have Brown and Tatum. 23 years old,
and it just hit 67 degrees here. It's getting warmer. It ain't Florida like you got, Riley, but the weather. You guys get over here now, and all of a sudden you're feeling a little bit of warmth.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it was gonna happen. Anyways, I mean, Victor Oladipo going to Miami has been rumored since last season. It went back when he was in Indiana. It was going to happen anyways. I think they just kind of decided to do it now. the Heat basically just Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk and then a pick swap. Like that's nothing. That's nothing.
That tells me Houston was just selling Oladipo.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just the pick. I mean, I think they really, as long as they got a first round pick in some capacity, I think that was all they really cared about. And then also Avery Bradley, I think, is going to get bought out. So that's another name to add. I don't think he'd either go to probably Brooklyn or LA because that's just how that's going to go. But yeah, so Miami Heat just basically got Oladipo for really nothing. I mean, they really didn't have to give up much, so that's a great move. And if they get LaMarcus Aldridge, you got another thing too. Before we go on, I am shocked they didn't. I thought Duncan Robinson at least. I thought they'd at least get him for Oladipo. So they still have Hero, Robinson, Dragic. Now they have Oladipo.
They
Butler,
kept every one
Bam.
of their actual players.
That's a sick team. Like that's a 6'6" guys right there. And then you bring in LaMarcus Aldridge, 7 deep. Man, they're gonna. I'm not saying they're gonna make it to the finals or anything like that, but they're gonna make.
They would have a way better record too if they didn't go through that. Like, was it COVID that ran through them pretty bad too, where they literally had really nobody for so
Jimmy
long.
Butler was out for like a month.
Exactly.
He was out a long time.
So
they're gonna make a good playoff run. I think now.
Yeah.
I'm glad there are a bunch of trades today, so we could talk about this and not how bad the Celtics have been.
We could talk about how other teams are looking.
I was super sad.
100%. A couple other ones that I think we just got to hit on, give our takes on, were Vucevic going to the Bulls. That was a huge name that people wanted for the Celtics. That was big. And then I think the Bulls they look kind of good coming out of the trade deadline. I know they did like another minor deal, but you land a guy like Vucevic and Zach LaVine together. That seems like
what I
a
was
duo.
gonna say. Like that's gonna be fun to watch.
That's 100%.
And Tice went to the Bulls, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So Tice, because that's where we got that do
they still have Laurie Markkinen?
Yeah, I thought he was going to get moved today, but guess not. So they still have him. They have Zach LaVine. I forget their short.
White.
Yeah, that's him. They got a lot better. I think that puts them in a honestly a playoff potential position, and I think they're like the 10
they're
or
right
11
behind us.
Yeah, literally like right behind us. And I think that honestly like that puts them in a good spot. Was another
we're the 8th seed right now.
Want to hear something crazy?
What do we got?
We have lost 8 games this year to teams like the Kings. Or Washington, the Wizards, or the Pistons.
Twice.
And if we would have won at least 6 of those 8 games, we would be 27-17.
The 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Just not losing to teams that are going to be in the lottery. Literally.
Losing to the Bucks, fine. You're not as good as them, right? But you lose to you got blown out by 30 against the Knicks.
Yeah, that was a lot of
a 4-game winning streak before the All-Star break, and then now we're 2-6 since All-Star.
That was literally only a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and that's so far removed. Like the win streak means nothing now. They already have gone back to stinky basketball. But
it's depressing.
Another trade though was Aaron Gordon. That's what I was thinking of. That was another big one to the Nuggets.
The Nuggets gave up a little bit for him. Gary Harris, RJ Hampton.
The Celtics couldn't compete with that.
No, I think it came. Honestly, I think it came down to Nuggets or Celtics, and they just picked the best offer. I mean, Danny Ainge wasn't gonna. People were saying Marcus Smart and this and that. He's not going to give up Marcus. People can say what they want about Marcus Smart. He is much more valuable to a team than Aaron Gordon is. Like Aaron Gordon, don't get me wrong. Like I would have liked him on the team, but like he's a complimentary player. He's not someone that brings the value that Marcus Smart does. He might miss shots. He might not, be the perfect player, but like he also has a mentality and just this culture fit. Like when he goes to a team, like he brings that hard working culture, like that grit and grind culture. Aaron Gordon, he's not that type of guy.
I've said it on this show. I've said that Marcus Smart plays 47 great minutes, and then he does stupid stuff on offense in that last minute, and then everyone forgets about the 47 minutes that he actually. I mean, last night he took like 1,000,000 threes, so that was like bad. I hate when he does that, but everyone forgets how much he provides during the game, and then even at the end of the game when he makes defensive plays, and he does the one stupid 3-point shot at the end or ISO ball to try and win it like last night. And then it's like, ridicule Marcus Smart time because that happened, which that's not good. Like that is losing them games in a sense. Like we can be honest about that, or I can at least. Some of these shots are losing them games because he shouldn't be taking them. but to put them in, like, he's put them in so many winnable positions in the past. The pros outweigh the cons in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, not in my opinion, just from watching him over the last 6, 7 years, 8 years, however long it's been, he's done more good than bad for the Celtics and the organization. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he's an untouchable player. Like, if the right move comes around and
you get Karl Anthony Towns for Smart, like,
when that makes sense and it's logical, then yes. But I'm not just going to give him up just for the sake of giving him up. It just doesn't make sense.
Would you have done any or entertained anything with like Fournier and Aaron Gordon in a deal with Smart and like a 2nd-round pick or something?
Honestly, still no. Because Fournier is a free agent after this year. Like, obviously, we went into detail about the whole, bird rights, sign and trade, this and that, but still, no. Marcus Smart fits the timeline much better than the other two, in my opinion.
He is the timeline. He is the heart. He's like, this team is the
longest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't think. Like I said, there's not very few players, but it's a short list of guys that I really would trade Marcus Smart for in the grand scheme of things. So it would take a lot. So I'm happy I'm glad Danny Ainge doesn't go on Twitter and looks at all these people and it's like, then it does what they say. I'm glad Danny Ainge, sticks to his guns, does what he knows what's best for the team, and that's ultimately what he does. And yeah, so we're good. We'll be okay. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I feel like I was waiting for the you said it like you're okay, and then you're like,
I'm trying
okay.
To be
You're that GIF with like the fire in the background and the dog just like, yeah, everything's fine.
Everything's fine. No, listen. That trade deadline 3 hours ago it ended. I'm feeling good about where the Celtics are after these moves. They got better. I'm
excited again. I'm excited for the rest of the year.
I'm excited to see what this team does. Hopefully, Evan Fournier fits in well, and maybe it's just the spark that we needed. Who knows? We'll find out.
It could just be the change that they needed. But anything else before we close up shop for today's episode?
Hopefully we don't get killed by the Bucks tomorrow.
That's good hope.
We came back last night. We were down 25, came back to only to lose by 2, but like not to go down 25. I'd really like that tomorrow.
Yeah, I almost didn't like that the final score looked like the Celtics played a good game.
Yeah, they made it seem like it was a lot closer than it was.
A buddy of mine was like, "Hey, I didn't see the game. Like, so the Celtics like played well. They almost won last night." And I was like, "No, that's not what happened. Like, maybe they almost won, but they got smoked and lost by 2."
They stayed with the Bucks. They were playing with them side by side all game. Nope.
No.
Nope. You did not watch the game. But we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Sweet. All right. Well, episode 14 in the books. Trade deadline, little special here. I think if we had to do one last thing, if we grade on like a school grade system, how do we grade that deadline as the Celtics?
I'd go B+. B+.
I was going to say B+ as well.
It's a respectable trade deadline.
I'll go B+ because I don't want to be the weirdo that gives them anything else.
Not too much. They didn't go crazy. They didn't get any big name players.
Mm-hmm.
But they got a respectable player. The team got better, and that's all I could really ask for.
Yep.
So
I think that's fair. But all right. So we got one last shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring the episode. Promo code TommyPoints. Save 20% in free shipping over on manscaped.com. You can follow the guys on Twitter at Dante on Deck, at Color Sports, at FGuy Boston. You can follow us on Twitter at Tommy Points. And one last plea to subscribe to the channel. We're seeing that sub count grow, and I think we'll discuss it. But I think we got some sort of a giveaway coming soon. 400 subs, 500 subs, whatever the milestone is. We got to give back to these guys because we really appreciate it, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
So, all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.